Good evening, my beautiful people. Good evening out there in the world of making things happen for yourself. I am Deshawn Antoinette Booker, your maximizing coach, and I am so excited. You know what? I'm super duper excited, okay? And I'm always excited, but why not, right? We are moving through our purpose, moving through our being. So if you don't know who I am, let me just let you know. I am Deshawn Antoinette Booker, your maximizing coach, and I am the founder and CEO of Maximizing Your Magnificence. So what does that mean? I said yes to the calling on my life and what God said to do and how to serve women in their magnificence. So I work with women in three ways so they can be intentional, so they can live from a place of integrity and always manifest increase in their lives and max out what I call max out in both their life, in their professional and personal businesses and in their world. That's what I do. And so what I really like to do is interrupt that negative chatter, that critic inside of your head that says, no, you can't. No, you will not. Who do you think you are? Don't you know everyone else is doing that? I like to come in and interrupt that because you know why? That's just what we do, right? We're going to live our lives magnified. So in that, I've created what I've called the Magnificence Formula. And in that formula, I've really created pillars of strength that have allowed us women, those powerhouse women, those broker house women, honey, to show up and show out because I've gone through it. I've gone through the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the yeses, the nos, the rejections, and the ebbs and flows of it all. And still, I knew that God said, you have work to do. I've called you to do a thing, and Deshawn, you have work to do. So with that said, I said, okay, I surrender. And I wanted to have different platforms in which I utilize the gift that I am so grateful and humble that God has called me to do. I wanted to have those different platforms to raise awareness, to inspire other women so that when they see women doing their thing, they say, okay, then I can do my thing. Because what I know for sure, if I'm being honest, is when we see another woman's output, her end result, we go, wow, how did she do that, right? But we don't know the behind the scenes. We don't know what it took to get to that place. We're often seeing someone's, ending and not really knowing their journey. So the Yummy Cafe. Sounds good, right? Let me give you some background on what the Yummy Cafe show is, which is what you're watching today. And if you're watching the replay, always let me know by putting #replay. I have always been so inspired by women who were absolutely showing up for themselves. I mean, as a young girl. I don't mean just as an adult. I've always admired the women in the magazines and the business journals who were just showing up and doing their thing, who was saying, I know that there's a calling on my life. They had a purpose, they had a passion, and they knew that they wanted to pursue it at any cost. I just love that. I mean, I really did. I was always admired that and just inspired and motivated. But most importantly, I was transformed. That's different than just being motivated and just, having the inspiration to do something. I was transformed and I said, I want to do that. I want to impact others. I really want to use whatever God has called me to do to impact other women so that they can see and reach their highest potential. I've been doing it for over 30 years through a variety of channels and gifts that God has afforded me. And so I'm really excited about that. But this Yummy Cafe is really about your unlimited magnificence equals you and me. And so I wanted to have a space where I simply celebrate women, entrepreneurs, and they are able to tell us how they gave birth to their amazing businesses. How did they turn their idea into an investment, right? How did they turn their vision into value? How did they turn their passion into profit? How did they do it? How did they keep saying yes when the road was saying no? When society was saying Child, you need to stop. How did they keep doing that? What did they do? What was their flow? And so in this space, I hold that space to celebrate women entrepreneurs and really sharing with us their intimate journey. Yeah, intimate. They are transparent here on this show and they are allowing you that sneak peek. So get your pen, your paper, your cup, your salsa, and sit down at the Yummy Cafe table, honey. And listen, while you're watching, get your sister girl over here so that she can say, you didn't leave me out, sister girl. Thank you for not doing so. Because we're going to yummy your belly with good stuff, with content, with value, and we're going to tell it like it is. I have two wonderful, oh my goodness, I could hardly sleep last night. Listen, I live in LA, and they are the buzz and have been the buzz for a while. I'm going to tell you all that in just a second. I know I'm doing my introduction to my introduction. They are the buzz, and everyone loves to talk about how they go and get these two, I want to say their names yet, women, their delight and their delicious goods. I don't want to say that just yet because I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm so excited that they are here. So without me going any further, let me give you my little introduction to the awesome divas that are here on the show. Discover yourself as this made from scratch Southern style of baking Southern Girl Desserts has acquired is from the heart. Their hearty desserts are all made by hand. Nothing going into these desserts are all made by hand, and nothing comes from a can or a box. With just one bite, they'll prove it to you. Building on recipes passed down from generations before, these desserts, especially their cakes, define why they are called pound cakes in the first place. They're dense and heavy in the best way. Let's not start on the buttery pie crust. You won't be able to stop until you're satisfied. And, of course, there's an option for everyone with a variety of Southern flavors that will satisfy any sweet tooth. Founded in 2007, Southern Girl Desserts, co-owned by Catarah, Coleman, and Shoneji Robison, who combined their family recipes to create a Southern cupcake and dessert arsenal. They say we pride ourselves on turning real ingredients into distinct and comforting delectables. Everything is made with love. We never cut corners. Both Coleman and Robinson were raised in Florida and attended Florida A&M University, but did not meet until they relocated here in the West Coast. They were introduced by a fellow Delta Sigma Theta sorority sister. Yes, my sorors. That's just what we do. Coleman noticed that the city of Los Angeles was in need of some Southern hospitality and flair. And what better way to showcase the flavors she grew up with and through a Southern-focused bakery. 6 months after the launch of Southern Girl Desserts, Robinson, an actress, joined as co-owner, bringing in matching love for baking and a hearty list of potential celebrity clientele. The dessert divas, as they are affectionately known, work together to build a successful business based upon the baking and hospitality of their childhood. We want to remind our guests of all the great flavors found in the South, Robinson said. We're two just Southern girls who loves to bake, and we want to share that with others. The women pride themselves on their time-honored recipes. I love that. Learned through many years of home cooking. Most recipes are family inspired, but plenty flavored combinations are dreamed up by dessert divas themselves. Coleman and Robinson received national recognition when they competed on and won the Food Network's Cupcake Wars. I know that show, and I seen them doing their thing, honey. Yes, honey. The women were bestowed with $10,000 prize and the opportunity to cater the Chicago Toy and Game Fair, a black tie gala. The women are also featured for their celebrity dessert catering on E! Networks, LA Sugar, and recently introduced nationwide shipping. Did you hear that? Nationwide. Celebrities love Southern Girl desserts. Some of their most famous customers, just a few that I'm giving you today, is Denzel Washington, Urban Magic Johnson, Samuel L. Johnson, Mariah Carey, Misty Copeland, Nick Cannon, Stevie Wonder. I mean, come on, really? Do I need to keep going? That's enough right there. These two dessert divas have been featured and spotlighted on so many TV networks. I'm just going to give you a few. Beyond TV, HDTV, Us Weekly, Food Network, People Magazine, Daily Mail, oh my goodness, Premium Eats, KTLA Channel 5, and now the Yummy Cafe. Listen, without any further ado, we are going to bring to the platform, to the room, to the stage, the dessert divas themselves. Miss Shoneji Robison, come on in. Let's give her a hand clap. Yes, Shoneji.
Hello.
Yes, hello. And also Miss Catarah, come on. Coleman is in the building.
We can go home. You done said it all.
Oh, no, that's just a tidbit. That's just a tidbit, ladies. Listen. How are you doing today?
Spirits
we are
great.
Wonderfully well.
Yes.
I
Glad
love
to be in the number.
I love it. Listen, I just want to say again, thank you. I know you're busy. I know you're booked. I know you're on purpose, and I know you're in purpose. And I want to say thank you for coming and sharing your story, your intimate journey on this platform, because so many women who have a passion, a hobby, a purpose, an idea, they got it. But sometimes I was that girl. Listen, we need to just hear from the others who have taken those steps, those leaps and bounds, and you are paving the way for us. So we just are so grateful that you're here, that you're going to tell us all about your journey in this segment. We got about an hour, and we're going to just go right in. And so I just want to say thank you so much. And listen, out there, listeners, these women are trying to be under attack with their health, honey. So I just need you to understand that this is what powerhouse women do. They still show up. Right? They still show up to support and to serve. And so I'm so grateful for that. So when you hear us clearing our voices, doing a little talking, drinking our teas, having our water, right?
Yes.
That's because we're here to support and serve, right, ladies?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And we're human. People think when you do what you're doing that you're, what's the song? What is that? I'm not your superwoman.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
My
listen,
goodness.
right. I understand. So listen, we're going to jump right in. Today's show is focused around their 3 words, and their 3 words are phenomenal. So we're talking about today resourceful, pivotal, and what about resilient? Right? What does that look like? But as you know, if you watched me and followed me on my show, I lead my show through what I call movements. And those movements are questions. And so I like to prompt the conversation around the movement questions on how these beautiful women entrepreneurs really ended up where they are and how they're continuing to build a sustainable business. And I'm just so excited because they in LA, honey. So, I know they shipping nationwide, but we have them right here at the Baldwin Mall, honey. We can just go on over, and get what we need. They do catering. We're going to talk about all that. So I just feel really, honored and a little spoiled because they right here in the city. And so we're going to get right into that. So ladies, we're just going to jump in. And our first question is, what was your inception moment? How did you, and you can talk about this, of course, individually, and then how you came together, combine those gifts and skills and talents, right? But what was your inception moment? When did you know, I think I got something here? Was it as a child, as an adult? I hand it over to you, ladies.
It absolutely was not as a child. I know that much. I moved to Los Angeles in 2005 as a publicist. And so I was working in the industry. And I was, after 6 months, I was over the industry. I had been in LA for 6 months, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. I knew it wasn't going to work for me. So in 2007, I finally, excuse me, see,
That's it.
in 2007, I had started my job with the County of Los Angeles just because that industry stuff wasn't working for me. And while I was there, I think when I am in stable situations, it gives me ideas to like get into like creative mode. And that's when I was like, I'm not going to be able to create generational wealth and all the things that I see my life being by working for the County of Los Angeles all of my life. And so in my small apartment in Inglewood, I decided that I wanted to start a business. Now, the funny part was that bakery wasn't on the forefront of my mind. I was literally walking around the house, flushing toilets and trying to figure out a new way to flush the toilet. Trying to invent something. Literally, like, Lord, what can I do to create something that will take me off this job and I'm not going to retire, at 65 from the county, which is nothing wrong with that. My parents just did that, but that wasn't what the life that I saw for me. So I decided, it came and hit me one day. Oh, a baker, desserts. And banana pudding was my thing. Like, I would take banana pudding to everybody's cookout, whatever it was. I have a line sister who lived in LA at the time, and she was always asking me to make her banana pudding. And so when I went to somebody's house for the first time, I took banana pudding. That was like my peace offering or whatever it was. So it started with banana pudding, and I was like, I'm gonna start a bakery. And so I called on, there was a bakery here in Los Angeles ran by a young lady off of 3rd Street, and it was a bundt place. It was called Kiss My Bundt. And she was a Black baker making it. And I was like, let me call her and find out, how do you start a bakery? And she was so open and willing to share with me every single thing that she did to get her business started. And I just followed all her steps, went and got a DBA. I was like, okay, gonna do this, gonna open up an account, get an EIN, do all of that, and started the business. A couple of months later, our sorority sister, Nakaya Brown, not Brown anymore, Indy, she called and she said, y'all, it don't make no sense. Shoneji over here, she's starting a bakery. You got a Southern Girl Desserts. Y'all got the same customers. Why don't y'all get together and figure out how y'all can come together and do this as a partnership? Right. So I was like, okay, cool. So I called Shoneji and I was like, hey, come meet me. Let's talk about this business. She came over to my apartment 30 minutes later. I said, do you want to be my business partner? And she was like, sure. But then she had a caveat in there. You want to tell them your caveat, Shoneji?
I said, yes, sure, we could do this. But I'm not sharing any recipes until I know where this thing is going. So
how is that gonna work? Okay.
We thought it was working until we were maybe a few months in, and we were running 2 different businesses. She had a red velvet recipe. Yeah, she was in North Hollywood. I'm in Inglewood.
Wait, ladies. So you're in separate places, and you're saying we are one business.
Yes.
Keep going. Okay.
She got a red velvet recipe. I got a red velvet recipe.
No.
We got different recipes of the same thing. Somebody who know her, call her. She make her version. Somebody I know call me. I make my version. And we realize
this ain't gonna work.
This is not gonna work. We need a consistent project.
How long did that work? How long did you allow that to happen?
It wasn't long.
It wasn't long. Less than a year.
That long?
It wasn't even that long. It was Man, it was a few months, because what we were discovering, obviously with business, consistency is key. Yeah. Especially with food. So if you experience something one day and you get a hankering for that thing again, you want what you had the first time. Right. And so that was not happening for our poor little customers. And we were like, okay, we got to stop this. So, but yeah, she was baking out of her kitchen in Inglewood. I was baking out of my kitchen in North Hollywood, and we were just figuring it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So Shoneji, for you, did you know that you had this baking gift as a young girl or as an adult? When did you know? Yeah.
I always knew I had a talent in the kitchen. I just didn't enjoy doing it. So I was cooking long before I was baking. And you know, being from the South, the expectation is that you help your parent, your mother, you help your grandmother in the kitchen. I hated it. And so I have this running joke with my parents. I'm like, I must have learned by osmosis because I don't recall picking up the tips and tricks, but it was in there. So once I got to FAMU, like I had a roommate. She happened to be when I moved into my first apartment, she happened to be from Savannah, Georgia, and Asia could cook too. So our apartment became the house for eating. We were not starving college students. We were making gumbo. We were making Sunday dinners. Wow. Our friends, you know, were always over. But I wanted, in terms of baking, I wanted to do it when I felt like it. Not because I had to. Yeah. So, and then the other part of that is I watched both of my grandmothers work in kitchens. And I was like, yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm college educated, you know, that's not for me.
Right.
And I really went through a moment where I thought that was beneath me. And so it's interesting because God works in such a way. He just brings things back around and just hits you in the head. He just hits you in the head. Yeah. And so I have been in LA for some years. I moved here in 2000. I had been here for some years, you know, on the acting scene. I was booking, you know, plays and booking TV and booking films, but it wasn't consistent. Yeah. And, you know, you might want to eat every now and then, you know. So I was trying to figure out ways, how can I make some, you know, some extra money? Yeah. So baking became the thing. It started with my hairdresser. Her name is Vicky Guess, and she would request things from me.
That's my hairstylist.
I was going to Vicky. I recognize that hair.
What'd you say?
I recognize that Vicky hair.
Yeah, I didn't even go to Vicky, but I know her. I know everybody who goes to her. They have really healthy hair, so I thought about her.
So Vicky is actually the person, and like I said, I was going to Vicky years ago, and she just kept challenging me. Yeah. She would make requests for me to do things, and you know how Vicky can be.
Yes.
And so I would be like, well, Vicky, I don't think I can do it. Well, do it. And so I would try it, and then she would order something else. And so it became a thing. I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to, you know, do a business with this baking. Yeah. And so that's how that came around.
So, ladies, I'm hearing this. Love the story. Love the inside scoop. That you were really not in surrender at all. You were on a whole different path, a whole different trajectory. And then God said, no, I know your plan that I have for your life, right? And his word does not return to him void. Yeah. So when did you surrender to, I'm okay with being in the kitchen, I'm okay with doing this on a regular, consistent basis? When did the both of you say, this is not a hobby, a side gig, that I think we're to continue this full time? How did that happen in the inception moment?
I think that's funny. Oh, go ahead. My surrender literally happened 2 years ago, and we've been in business for 15 years. I kept my job with the county out of fear for a very long time. Of, you know, can this business sustain both of us? Can, if I leave my job with my benefits, what will happen? So out of fear, I stayed on my job for 13 years. And so in 2019 is when I literally put in my resignation and retired from the county of Los Angeles. So now I've been in the business full time for 2 years. This month is 2 years. Wow. But it literally took me a very long time to, you know, surrender and really trust God that even though the business was doing well, it was very hard for me to walk away from that stability that I had established, being so far away from home, being in Los Angeles, knowing the ups and downs of business and saying, oh, you really about to just, leave all of this. And sometimes it's you got a job and then you have a side hustle or a hobby. That job funds and really finances a lot of times that hobby and that side job. But it was getting to the point where the business was being stifled because of the creativity and the time. You gotta sacrifice it and just throw it all in the bucket if you really want it to go where it's meant to go. And I had to make that decision. And so that 2 years ago was that moment for me personally.
Okay. And it's one of those things where, let's be honest, this is a partnership.
Yeah.
So in addition to all the things that Catarah just mentioned, there's also levels of frustration from your partner. That's like, girl, come on, we got things to do. But I think one of the amazing things I think that has helped sustain she and I's relationship as partners is that we've really learned who the other is. So I learned how she operates. I learned that for her, it's not a diss to me that she didn't want to come in full time. It was she operates in the space of needing to know that she has stability. I'm a different type of personality.
Okay.
I'm a let's go. Let's, but in certain scenarios, not in every scenario. So I really am kind of like a fly by my, pants kind of person in certain areas. So it was really just figuring out, because for me, I think I was ready to be full-time,
Well, you were forced into full-time.
Right. I was forced into full-time the day we opened at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall, which was in 2012. 2012, we opened our doors on May 5th. I was scheduled to go to my job that evening because I worked overnight.
Okay.
And I had to call my manager like, I don't think I'm gonna make it no more.
Wow.
So it was just like, whoa, we did not know what we were in for when that mall, those doors opened. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Ladies, I'm full of so many directions being pulled into, but the first thing that I'm hearing and I'm going to say, and I'm sure you've heard it before. So you're writing a book, right? This sounds, you have to give your story. Have you heard that before?
We have.
Yes.
Okay. So see, that's all I got to say about that. Okay. I'm done with that. I heard that. I said, okay, because I want to read and turn the pages. As you're speaking right now, I'm doing this. I'm like, wow, because we don't know all of that. We don't know that, for me to hear Catarah say, I just surrendered to my thriving business, because most of us are in fear. My hand to that, right? Been there, done that. Understand that. I'm that girl that we need to understand that where's the consistency of the sustainability. I need to know, I need certainty in my life, right?
Me too.
Right. So as that woman who's watching us right now and listening, saying, well, I know I have this, this bubbling in my belly. I know that I'm called to do more. It doesn't mean you can't continue your 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Right. But at some time, we have to make the decision.
Yeah. And you know what? And you will know when that right time is. Because honestly, I don't know this for sure because it didn't happen. But if I would have left my job the same day Shoneji left her job, we both could have been homeless. We don't know, because I only know what happened.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it, because that job financed, paid for lots of things that the business couldn't handle on its own in those years. And so it happened the way it was supposed to happen. But I was saying is that God literally sent a ram in the bush, like a literal, like, okay, girl, if you don't leave your job now, like, you really ain't trying to do this for real.
Right.
So when he sent that ram in the bush, and I was like, my heart was in the business. And forgive me, County of Los Angeles, but all I did was Southern girl at work anyway. You know, like it was just my office away from the bakery.
Right.
But physically being in the business, being able to show that support by physically being there to Shoney, I think really helped our partnership. And, you know, now I'm like, all I have to think about 24/7 a day, 24/7 is the business versus, okay, I'm gonna get back to Southern Girl, but I gotta go do this meeting real quick, or I gotta sneak away from my job for a couple of hours to go over to the bakery and do this or do this interview and all that. So all of that, once that got etched out, we were able to put our brains together, and I was like, okay, now we can give all of me to this business that's growing. And so there was fear, there was reality that this business can't support the type of income we both need to bring in together. I'm like, boo, we taking care of you. We can't take care of you and me because I'm expensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we can't handle my mortgage and your stuff and my stuff and your stuff. So I'm gonna stay here a little longer.
Okay.
But when that ram in the bush came, it was like there's no other reason to linger and keep going over here. Let's focus on Southern Girl Desserts. And people say once you go 100% into your business, you really get to see the growth of it. And so much has happened in these 2 years that probably would not have happened if I wouldn't have taken the leap and said, I'm gonna walk away and focus along and bring in my, you know, focus along with Shoneji's focus.
Because I was exhausted.
Of course, I could imagine.
And I think, you know, it's one of those things where God actually gave us a vision early on that let us know that we were on the path that we were supposed to be on. Okay. So he made it so easy in the beginning. It was so easy. We were like, oh, this is a breeze.
We said it was easy. Then we
it
came out our mouth.
And I think that was just his way of letting us get our footing, let us sink and settle into it and know that, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And then the challenges came.
And then
Yes.
So, but by that time we were in. It was no jumping ship at that point.
Right. Committed, fully committed. And I love it, Catarah. You said something. I was going to say this earlier, and you said leap, which is actually what my mantra is for this year in my teaching and coaching platform, which is LEAP 2021, LEAP, letting everything appear possible. So when we leap, we are letting everything appear possible. So I love that, you know, that you use that in the description of you all's beginning stages, your beginning, right? And really being able to look at what that looks like, because it's real. It's real. What I'm so excited to hear is that you really came together with two different personalities. A lot of times people think, how can that happen, right? And you know, how can women, you know, do, and then women of color, and then educated women and independent women, you know, you've heard, you know, how do you all get along? Well, it's beyond the natural sense of things. It's in God's plan. It's a spiritual, you know, connectedness. And I love hearing that and seeing that. I want to stay just for 1 second with the inception moment. Southern. Please let's dive deep into, why is the Southern so important? Why is that so important, honey? What give us some backdrop to that.
One of the things that we ask our cashiers when we're training them is, when you hear the word Southern, what comes to mind?
Can I answer?
Yes.
Good, juicy. Oh my God, I want more. Oh my God, I shouldn't be eating this, but it feels so good. It's comforting. It's yummy. I want more. It smells good. It's so good.
Yes. And then the other thing that most people say is hospitality. So when Catarah came up with the name of the business, and even that story, and I'll let her tell it, was an interesting one that was beyond what she could even see in that moment.
So Southern Girl Desserts, when the okay, now I'm gonna do baking. So now I need a business name. And so I was like, well, I'm in California, so I'm Southern as they come. So the business is going to be called Southern Girl Banana Pudding.
Because that was your one. That was it.
And then that literally lived for 5 minutes. And I was like, but how am I gonna survive off of banana pudding?
Right.
Need to create a name where there's room to have a variety and to expand and to grow the menu. So narrowed it down to Southern Girl Desserts, because then that would capture anything and that would come in the future or whatnot. So that's how Southern Girl Desserts came about. And of course, you know, we have a million things under the dessert menu at Southern Girl Desserts. We have peach cobbler, banana pudding, cookies, cakes, pies, cobblers.
Let's talk about that Coke and Hennessy. That Hennessy and what is it?
Hennessy and Coke.
Let's talk about that. What is that like? Just give us a little insider. Is it real?
There's actually a story behind that.
I like to hear it. Let's share that.
So we were invited to be a part of a event. It was a party for Dougie Fresh, and a friend of mine who's a chef. He was the chef for this event, and he said, "Hey, I want you guys to come and do a dessert." So I said to Catarah, I was like, "Girl, we need to come up with like a signature dessert for this event." And Hennessy was the sponsor for the event. Okay. So I went into the kitchen and was like, Hennessy and Coke. And literally the first try, like the recipe came out the way that it's never been changed. And that's where it came from. And it stuck. And it was funny because we didn't know how to price it once, because we were like, okay, we'll keep it, when we got into a space and we were selling it. And we were like, we don't know how to price it. And someone said to us, it needs to be $5. And we were like, $5?
We were like, oh, that's a lot of money for us.
Nobody's gonna pay $5 for this cupcake. They do,
yes,
have been for all these years.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, I love it. Listen, ladies, if you do not put this down in literature form, on audio, and continue to do more with your stories, these are so heartfelt, you know, because you really were being moved in your authenticity. I'm hearing that it really came from a pure place, that you didn't say, what is everyone else doing? Right? You didn't say, well, what do we need to compete with and how and to? You just said, this is what we're called to do. And let's do it from the heart, which is what part of your vision and your mission is. I love that. I love that. Okay. So we have the inception. You know, I want to move to our next movement, which is the hurdles. Right? So people see you, you're thriving, you're out there doing what you do. You are really a signature in LA. People know you by name. They know your business. They know you. And I was saying earlier, when people mention the name of your business and they say, oh, I got a cake catered, you know, or some, you know, my pies catered, my cupcakes from, you know, Southern Girl Desserts. They say it was such a, you know, pizzazz about it. The shoulders come. I said, okay, which is, you know, so you really give a flair, which is what you intended to do, to the experience of it all. But before all of those things and during that, what were some of your hurdles? What were some of your breakdowns? Because I call them, you know, the pain points of being an entrepreneur, right? I thought it was very glamorous. Like, oh, Deshawn, yes, I saw the women in the magazine and on television being spotlighted. I said, oh, I want to do that. But then sometimes I didn't have the funds, the resources, or I didn't understand how to get up and go and continue on. So how did you get over some of your hurdles? What were some of those? And then how did you get over those?
One of the things, like we mentioned before, in the beginning, it was all so easy. Yeah. It was just clicking. And the hurdles did not begin, like the real hurdles did not begin until we started hiring people. Mm-hmm. Oh. And so it's one of those things where I tell folks all the time, if we could do it all by ourselves, it would be, you know, easy. But once you start taking on personnel, now you're taking on all of their things and, learning these people that you do not know. And so our very first employee that we ever had sued us.
Wow.
And that was an experience that we were like,
girl, we done took care of your child. We done helped you out and did this and did that. And we were like, okay, well, this is what having employees.
This is real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first hurdle was, okay, we need help because we're growing, but how do we manage these people?
Yes.
During that time. So we were learning that, even though Shoney came from a management background, this is different.
It's different because it's now ours. Like I didn't have the systems already in place, the booklet to follow, that we were creating it.
Right.
So, you learn when you work for someone else, all that stuff is there for you. You just follow instructions.
Right.
And you learn quickly when it's yours. You have to create the instructions.
Yes, you do.
And that's very, very different.
Yes.
Very different. So, and you have a different level of connection to the business.
Yes, you do. Yes. You're invested. Right. Did you see that as a moment to question, were you doing the right thing? Should you stop this? Or did you question, was this something we should continue, or should we just not have, staff? Did you question any of those things during that time? Because that's
hurt. I think
we were just more hurt. Yeah.
We knew that little monkey was not going to stop a show.
And that became our mantra, like not one monkey gonna stop the show, because by then, like Shoney said, we were invested. We weren't gonna let one person or anybody stop our business from growing and opening our doors every single day. So if it was us having to do it, then we did it. And so the people we were learning was a hurdle. But like so many businesses starting off, finances was definitely a hurdle, because when you're just working out of the house and, got to buy a few ingredients and all those things, you can handle that. But when you get your brick and mortar and you got to pay rent and you got to pay all of the utilities and you got to pay payroll, what we getting? Like that challenge of, okay, so all we gotta do is go to the bank. Go to the bank. Right. They see we're making good income. We'll go to the bank and we'll get a little loan. We'll get a credit card. We learned quickly that young Black women in business weren't the priority of banks. And we started having to find other ways to finance our business, and wasn't always the smartest. We realized we were making decisions out of sometimes just desperate. To make sure that things stayed afloat, make sure we can pay our employees. I mean, we went through a lot. We done cried many days. We done
on her wedding day.
On my wedding day.
No. On your wedding day, you all were in the moment of a hurdle.
We were drowning in the hurdle at that moment.
We were like, I don't even know if a life jacket gonna save us at this point.
Right.
One of my bridesmaids paid the payroll for us. Wow. So that we could just focus on the happiness of the moment.
Right.
But it was some very low points, and a lot of it was financial, because we're doing great. Yes, Stevie Wonder, people coming and all of that, but this is still, you need resources to grow a business. You need resources for marketing. You need, you realize now we like, these a lot of these companies, they sitting on lines of credit, they sitting on you know, all these options.
Come on, that's right.
They got a lot of money. It's not like they're not going through the same things we're going through. They just have options.
Right.
And our options was our mamas and daddies, my 401k, you know.
Yeah.
Those were the options in that moment.
Yeah.
We didn't have, you know, Wells Fargo, even though we giving them all this money and paying all these fees, they weren't trying to hear, you know, oh, they don't care. So we struggled. And, you know, but every time we struggled, we were still able to see past that so that this is just for a moment. And our faith was able to help us get through those moments. And having partnership is when this is important, because very few moments where Shoneji and I are feeling defeated at the same time. You know, it's either me or it's her, and we can encourage each other to push through.
Yes.
And the other part of that is you have to also remember neither one of us went to FAMU and was in the School of Business. Our degrees are in completely different things.
Yeah.
And so business for us was a learn as you go. Yeah. And we tell people all the time, everything about what we did was probably the biggest no-no.
Yeah.
We literally just jumped in the water and said, yes.
Here we are.
And then we figured it out. So, you know, and that's in all aspects. We didn't know that when we opened our doors at the mall that we didn't need 24 people. It felt like we did, but we didn't realize that we needed that. We didn't realize that we should have hired them months before the doors opened so that we could train them.
Yes.
You know, we didn't, there were so many things that we did not know, and we had to learn on the fly, and we learned through mistakes. You know, and then some stuff, you know, it's just, we were able to just kind of get by and say, woo, child, I'm glad we were able to come out of that unscathed, but there was definitely a lesson there.
Yes. Yeah. And so what I'm hearing is, you know, and all the words that we're going to get to your words, but being persistent, and you said having faith, and then truly knowing that your heart's desire was to see this baby through, was to see this purpose through, right? It sounds like it became more than just a business. It was really your heart's desire, your purpose, your calling, because you're serving so many ways and so many platforms, you know. And, you know, we say, you know, people, you know, say that when, you know, weight of a man's heart is through, you know, is how what you feed him, the food. But all of us know that food, you know, is nurturing. And then you talked about not just the food aspect of it, but what I'm hearing is your service, how you really stood in a space of servicing others, you know, that full servitude. And people want that experience. They want to come into a place and feel welcome. And they want to come into a place where they can know that the energy in the space is really accommodating their spirits and who they are in that moment. Now, I followed you, and I know your work and, you know, your journey, some of it, not all of it. Can you talk a little bit about your partnership with Sam's Club in that financial moment and that opportunity fund? How did that show up for you?
Ooh, okay. So Opportunity Fund was literally, it was another ram in the bush moment.
We should start with Sam's Club though.
Okay, start with Sam's Club and then I'll go into Opportunity.
So Sam's Club was an opportunity that presented itself to us. We received a phone call, and you know, basically it was someone like, hey, we want to know if you guys would be interested in providing your desserts, cupcakes, mini cupcakes in Sam's Clubs. And we were like, oh my God, you know. Now, mind you, at this moment in time, we didn't even have a store location. Right. So we were like, oh, I mean, this sounds amazing, but how are we gonna do that?
Right.
So we went and we went and we found a co-packing company, because we were like, we got to figure this out, because we don't want to lose the opportunity. And when we got there, what we realized was that they wanted to charge, which is fair. You know, I think it was like $20,000 or something like that, Catarah, right?
Yeah.
And so we were like, yeah, nah, we don't have that.
We were nowhere close to $20,000.
And I was like, and no, girl, we are not giving up our recipes. because with them, you have to give your recipes to them for them to formulate in mass. So I was like, oh no, we're not doing that. So we passed on that opportunity. It never came to fruition.
Wow.
And so from there, we also received a call from Whole Foods. We also received a call from, it was Walmart, right? Costco. We passed on all of them because we just did not think we were ready. And to be honest, we weren't. We weren't ready. We would have failed miserably.
Okay.
And so what we recognize is that in moments like that, you got to be real.
Yes.
And like I said, we didn't even have a storefront. We didn't even have a kitchen. So there was no way that we could have taken that. So that is the Sam's Club story. It never happened.
Wow.
But Sam's Club, if y'all out there, we ready now.
Yeah.
But the opportunity fund came in those moments of like, okay, God, like we drowning a little bit right now. So I'm in the office at the bakery and I'm just going through paperwork, and this little flyer piece of mail come across the desk, and I open it up and it's hitting all the pain points. It's like your business is suffering. You don't know what to do. You've been turned down by the bank. What do you know? And I was like, oh, they speaking.
Yes.
So yeah. I called them immediately and I told them, I was like, you must be Jesus because you heard.
She really said that.
I told them they was Jesus because I was like, you really hit on the reasons we really need you right now. Yeah. And come to find out, they weren't like a merchant cash advance company. They weren't the bank. They were fair, and they really looked at the business and they saw what we saw, and they got us out of where we were and the hole that we were in, and it was allowed us to be able to have a reset and really do some things that we wanted to do. Yes. And because of that, they took us on the road. We were in DC. We were able to create the California Business Bill of Rights that a lot of businesses are seeing right now. We were able to help create that. When it comes to merchant cash advances and how the things they did and did not disclose to businesses that they would come to, because a lot of those merchant cash advances, they used to pry on businesses knowing that they were, didn't have other options for income or for resources, and would charge absorbent amount of interest and just really rob small businesses. Yes. And you were almost like on a treadmill going in the same direction over and over again. You never could get out of that stuff. So we were able to go to Washington, D.C., go to the White House and really talk about our business and our experience and what we went through. And hopefully that has, over the last 5 or 8 years, I don't know how long it's been, has been able to help other businesses not get caught up in some of the things that we were caught up in. But that opportunity fund changed our lives. It really did. It saved our business for sure.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Awesome story. Awesome story that you knew again that, when you saw that and you were connected to that, this is an opportunity. And so you said, let's lean into that. Yeah. Powerful story, powerful test. Yeah. The test becomes our testimony. We hear it, right? Yes. The mess that we're in becomes our message, but we have to stay to where we're going. We have to put that hand to the plow and know that we know without a doubt that we're on the right path. And I want to just say again, you said you heard that, ladies, in the beginning, that you knew God was giving you the yes, so that you know that when these hurdles happen, to stay the course. So those of you that are listening, that have joined us and are watching the replay, one of the goals here is for you to really take, the tools that these women who have just succeeded in their businesses to see that it may not always be, an easy journey. It may not always just flow the way that we expected, even when we know it's a yes.
Yeah.
Right? Even when we know we're on the right path, it's not always going to end up, looking that way along the way, which is what I then call, what are your worthy moments? When you knew you were worthy of this, when you said, okay, now I see the sun shining. Now I'm seeing, us being able to breathe a moment. What were some of your worthy moments as you were creating and building, your business?
One of the things I was going to say was that, we've talked about the challenges, but we had so many amazing moments in our business and confirmation that allowed us to keep going. And even in the mess, it was still all of these like blessings that were coming and saying, okay, y'all in the right. The first day we were on Pico, Shoney got a phone call from a friend who happened to be a producer at HGTV and was like, hey, you know anybody who needs their location or a store or something renovated? Shoney was like, we literally just start out of this location. And that happened while we got on Cupcake Wars and got our first national attention. While that beautiful thing was happening, we were being locked out of our first location. We sold 2,800 plus Groupons for our cupcakes in 2010.
Wow.
But we on Cupcake Wars all at the same time.
Wow.
It was all of that happening at the very same time. And Shoney can go into how we even ended up at the Baldwin Hills Mall, which I believe is a worthy moment, and is also set us on the trajectory that we're on right now.
Yes. Go ahead.
So I got another call from a friend, and she was someone who produced Grammy events, and the mall was doing summer concert series.
Yes, outside.
Right. So her name is Angela Bibb Sanders, and she called and said, "Hey, listen, Shoney, we're doing these free concerts outside. I just want to know if you guys would be interested in setting up a table. I'm not asking anything from you. Whatever you make, it's yours. It's just an opportunity for you to, sell some cupcakes." Nice. So we were like, sure. And so what happened was we started doing that. And over the summer, the lines would grow. People were talking about these cupcakes. And mall management was like, who are these girls outside that everybody's talking about with these cupcakes? So they contacted us and wanted to know if we would like to sit down and talk about the possibility of opening a store inside the mall. Now, we're both from Florida, so all we knew of Crenshaw was Boys in the Hood. We were like, I don't know about that.
Right.
And so both of us said, I'll never forget this. We both said, okay, you go pray on it. I'm gonna go pray on it. We'll come back and see what God told us.
Okay.
And we both got the same answer. And so we moved forward with that opportunity, which was unlike any other. And full disclosure, what they did for us was absolutely amazing. And a lot of people did not realize at that time that mall was owned by Black people. So there was Black ownership to this mall. And it was funny because simultaneously we were being courted by the Westfield Mall, which is what we know as Fox Hills.
Fox Hill, yeah.
And we were like, we had meetings, and they were like, yeah, it's going to be $50,000 a month. And we were like, ooh, child. So
like, I believe in our cupcakes, but woo.
Right.
What we realized is that we made the absolute best decision. And had we gone anywhere else, we would have been closed.
Yeah.
Year number 2, probably the doors would have been closed.
Wow.
But we had mentorship in that ownership.
Okay.
Ken Lombard is forever. We're forever grateful to Ken Lombard, who, took us under his wing. He allowed us to go into his office and cry. And he said, don't worry, y'all are doing great.
Yeah.
This is normal.
Yeah.
What you're seeing, this is normal in business.
Yes.
And we were like, this is normal?
Yeah.
I don't like this.
But having that reassurance helped us to continue to press on.
Yes. Now, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then outside of that, worthy moments for us can be different. Another worthy moment for me was we had an employee. Someone called me and said, "Hey, Shoni, I got a friend. She just got out of prison. She's been in prison for 9 years, and she just, needs a break. If you can just interview her." He was like, "Just interview her. I mean, you ain't got to hire her, but if you could." I said, "Okay, fine." She shows up. Man, she was rough. Still had the anklet on her, cussing during the interview, and I stopped it midway. I said, "Let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
This is potentially an opportunity for you. And I understand that it appears that I'm your peer, but I am potentially your employer. And I need for you to understand how to conduct yourself in that moment." I said, "So I'm going to stop this." I said, "And I'm going to allow you to go on. It was great meeting you." And she left. A couple days went by. I could not get her off my spirit. And I called her back and I said, "Listen, I don't know why you are on my spirit, but I want to hire you." I said, "But you've got some work to do."
Yeah.
And she assured me, and she had kind of 360'd in them few days. Like, I guess she received what I was saying. And she was like, "No, I got it. I'm committed. She worked for us for 4 years? She became one of the best employees we've ever had. She changed her life completely.
Yes.
Her credit shot up. She started looking. She said to us, because one day she came, it was her off day. Hair was done, cute little outfit. And she said, "Well, when I work for two bosses like you, I have to be the part."
Come on now.
And I said, "Lord Jesus, we didn't know the influence that we had on some of these people."
Right.
And so we realized that what we were doing was more than desserts.
That's right.
And we still do to this day. We've had so many conversations with so many young people who are going through their own challenges, and they come to us for advice or just when they're acting out, we're like, "What's wrong with you? Like, talk to us." And a lot of times we don't talk. We just hold things in. And we had one young lady, she had people coming looking for her at the bakery, and she came back to us a couple of years later and was like, "Thank y'all so much. I'm doing better now, but I appreciate that y'all didn't give up on me." And so it made employees is one of the pain points that we talked about when we were our beginning challenges, but we've also been able to see how what we've done and just the things we've said and how we've treated them, that a lot of them have never been treated with that type of respect.
Right.
No one's never just sat down and listened to them. So
and I think a lot of people don't understand, being a Black-owned business, the things that we have to endure. Like we're hiring individuals that are homeless, barely making it to work. Their life experience is one that may be a little different. So they may not be doing cartwheels when you come through the door.
Right.
Not to give a pass that you shouldn't have great service. We pride ourselves on giving good service, but there's a lot that these young people are going through.
That's
a lot on a daily basis. We try to train and we try to do all those things that, are necessary to be done. But we're dealing with a lot that comes with hiring from within our community. We need a lot of help in those areas.
Yes, it's ministry, and I call it business ministry. And again, I hear the book just jumping out. I hear the speaking platforms for the both of you. I hear a lot of stuff. And when we get off this, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff to my sisters, because honey, I hear so much that you probably have already heard, but I'm gonna say it to confirm it, because it's a ministry that you have allowed yourselves to be open and available to. And I got chill bumps listening to the story, and I'm sure there's others. And it's just great to hear that you've been planted right in the community for such as a time as this, right? From 2007 to now, to really show up for the unexpected.
Yeah.
And those that are coming through, right? And coming through those, and they make that pit stop, have no idea. But because you've surrendered and said yes, right? And you said, okay, God, I'm giving you my absolute yes, then he's able to move through that and use you as the channels, as the vessels. And so that's exciting. And is to really be, commended, it's just such an honor to hear that. Now, here's something else I want you to just talk about. We're getting ready. I know we got to keep going because we got to just bring everything to an awesome close in just a moment. But I don't know if you know that I know you all were open during the pandemic. Now, come on now. Don't act like we're not going to talk about that. Like, you gotta shed all the light on that. Like, how that happened? Like, what happened? What had happened?
The crazy part about it is that when everything started to shut down, me and Shoney we like, okay, all the employees, we didn't know what was safe, what wasn't safe. We worked in the bakery, just she and I.
Okay.
It was just she and I for a few hours a day. We were like, because we don't know if people are going to show up, people. We were still thinking about everybody except ourselves out there in the COVID. Didn't even know. But while we were there, it was like maybe a week after everything was shut down, a young lady attempted suicide in the parking lot at the Baldwin Hills Mall and ran her car into our storage unit.
Wow.
Took out everything we had. Everything we had was destroyed. And we were like, if this ain't a sign that we need to go home and sit down with the rest of America. But we's like, no, we're gonna stay open. We managed to figure it out, and we stayed open. We changed our hours, we limited our menu, but we were like, we're gonna stay open. We were the only ones for the whole entire pandemic, with the exception, I think, of maybe one other business in the parking lot. They decided to open up later, but we stayed open. We have this side window that everyone knows now to go inside, because usually you enter our business through the mall, but the mall was closed.
Right.
And we have this door that was originally supposed to be a
outside seating
area. Okay. And during the construction, they were like, permitting is not going to allow y'all to do that. So we can put y'all a door and a counter here. And it wasn't functional, really. So we were like, we'll just use it during holidays when we're super busy. And that door saved our business, because everybody had to close their doors for a year and a half, because the mall was closed for almost a year. Really, if you add up all the closure days, almost a year.
Yes.
We never had to close our doors.
Wow. Yeah, I know. That's phenomenal, right? That is a hurdle, and then the worthy moment through that. And it's so encouraging for others who are listening, to, as you said, that door became what it needed to be later on in the middle of that. And that ram in the bush.
Yeah.
And you just didn't even know. You're right. And it's just commendable. It's just commendable, ladies. This is just so great. Oh my goodness. I love the stories. Your 3 journey words. I always ask my guests for what are their 3 words that have really propelled them on this journey as entrepreneurs. And you ladies gave your 3 words: resourceful, pivotal, and resilient. Let's talk about that. Who wants to start with the first one? Or you both can chime in. I'm loving the energy, the synergy. Let's have at it.
Being FAMUans, I know during my time at FAMU, we had a mantra that was always use your resources. And so throughout our business, we've done just that. We utilize our resources, and we are not afraid to ask questions, and we're not afraid to share, information. So I think for us from the inception, like Catarah mentioned, when she reached out to, I think her name is Krista. When she reached out to Krista over at Kiss My Bun, just being resourceful, figuring it out. When people would ask us, we got a call from West Angeles Church early on in our business asking if we could do an event for hundreds of people. And we said yes. And they said, well, do you have insurance? And we were like, yes.
Yeah.
And we had to go find insurance.
Right, right.
So
Google that. Right. You go on the phone. Right.
Yes. So just being resourceful and not allowing anything to just kind of sit us down and say, oh, well, they asked that and we don't have that. And so we can't do it. Yeah. We just push through.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, being a Delta does that for you too. The lessons learned and just being able to figure things out and make it work. It may seem impossible, but you got to figure out how, okay, what can we do to make sure that it becomes something that is possible? So the other word here is pivotal. And that became, we realized that we've had to pivot many times in our career and in our business, but COVID really showed up, and that word pivot became a really useful word, and it became very prevalent because when we started getting calls, Black Lives Matter and all the corporations wanted to make sure that they put their mark on a Black business. They started calling. They were like, so we usually have this, but we can't because of COVID. Can y'all ship? And we were like, yes, we can. We became Obama, and we were like, yes, we can. And the crazy part is we had the year before, we had ordered like 10,000 shipping boxes that we had custom made, but we still hadn't figured out the whole shipping situation. We were still figuring out shipping. January, we were sitting in Hilltop on La Brea, coming up with, let's start a shipping account with this and figuring that out. Yeah, we were figuring it out before COVID hit. COVID hit. Then all of a sudden, it was time to hit it, execute, and we were like, okay, we're gonna focus on this, but we need to really focus on that. So we had to pivot, and we had to change our site and what we were going to do to this shipping is going to save our business. Everybody on lockdown, but everybody's still receiving mail, and that made 2020. We had our best year in 2020 because of our willingness and ability to pivot and to just say, you know what, we're gonna move over here and we're gonna learn as we go and we're gonna figure this thing out. And we did, you know. So
I think we ended up shipping close to 8 to 10,000 boxes.
Yeah, over 10, Shoney, because remember we had to order more.
Yeah. Oh, so it was over 10,000 boxes, and that was just in the months of November and December.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
We tied. We still tied.
Yes, you are.
And it's about to come around again.
And it's back.
And you had no, at the moment prior to, that wasn't on your to-do list, a goal, an immediate goal.
It was actually. It was.
We weren't in action, but we were like, this is what we need to do. But we had not. And the crazy part is we had been shipping with another business, and they sold their company to a company called Goldbelly. And they told Goldbelly, look out for Southern Girl Desserts. They're a great business. And Goldbelly just like, you're fired. They broke up with us, and they were like, your shipping volume isn't.
You're not doing enough.
It's not doing enough for our platform. Honey, Black Lives Matter came around. They were like, we need to diversify, and they were like, y'all want to ship? We was like, yeah, do we want to ship? We got 10,000 boxes we need to use.
Yes.
And that opened the door. So when holidays came around, it was the perfect resource to help us in our pivotal moment to move forward and do what we needed to do.
Wow. Ladies. Okay. So resilient. Who's going to take that one? Your last word.
We here.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I think this says what that means. Like, we are still here.
We still business partners. we still like each other.
Yes.
You know, we're not business partners, that we're sisters. We trust each other. You know, like that's the resilient part of it, because so many things could have broken this bond. So many things, just the pressures of business could have broken us. And we were like, what I love about Shoneji is that we've always had the same goal and the same vision. Like, we've always been able to see past our own personal stuff and see what the future held. And we still to this day, and we respect each other. And so we've been able to, you know, see past the petty of, you know, selfishness, because everybody is selfish. Everybody want what they want. But to see past ourselves and see the future of this business and where it can be and the impact that it can have, so the fact that we're still sitting here today together,
that's right.
It's a lot. It tells you everything you need to know.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Ladies, resourceful, pivotal, resilient. You brought it not just words on paper, but you brought it to life. And you allowed it to exist, you know, and it continues to exist, and you're moving forward. And that is what this platform is about. How do we reach the others, right? We go back and pull up our sisters and say, this is what this looks like. And if our sisters out there who believe that you have a passion, a purpose, a calling, that there is a hobby that you really want to turn around and make that be something greater than just a hobby for you, then take the nuggets that you've heard here today, right? I hope you were taking the notes, as I said, because there was some value here, some content here, and it allows us to see that path, once we say yes to it, doesn't always mean that you're not going to have the barriers, the breakdowns, the detours, you know. It's just not. And when you become, you know, successful in your business and you are, you know, called upon, be willing to first see if that's something that you think is, you know, applicable to what you do and how you can make that happen. But be willing to say yes, right? Be willing to trust yourself as you grow, And so before we go into what's happening with you, I just want to make sure that everyone knows how to get in contact with you. So your email is here. Do I have that correct, ladies? Your email at southerngirldesserts.com. So listen, if you're again with us listening now, if you're watching the replay, but you know who they are, right? But we just want to give you their information, okay? And you can find them on the social media. So their Instagram is at Southern Girl Desserts. They also are on Facebook as Southern Girl Desserts, right? Mm-hmm. And then their website is, of course, what is it? Southern Girl Desserts. That's what it should be. That's their branding. And you know what I want to say before I have you close and tell us what's happening and just give your bidding words. I want to say this to you. I have been so motivated in transforming this experience from hearing your story. And I talk to many women, and not just on this platform. We've all talked to women, and we have our different circles and networks and, you know, organizations that we're affiliated with. But all the years, you know, that I've just been so inspired by women because they've said yes to what's on the inside of them. But listening to your story, because so many times we think we have to do it on our own. So many times we stray away from a partnership, and watching you and listening to your story has been so remarkable that you've said yes to the young lady introducing you, that you said, I'll give that a try. I'll give that a chance. And then you say today, we're sisters. We're in this. I have chill bumps. I'm going to probably cry. I've been holding back a lot of tears listening to your story today. I really have, because it's just empowering to see that you came here with one idea and God said, but I got another. Mm-hmm. And I got another. And I got another. Mm-hmm. You know? And you said, okay, at some point, and then said yes. And so that is remarkable. And I'm pushing the book. I'm pushing the movie. I'm pushing your platform speaking. I'm pushing every other thing that I know you've been told and called to do as an extension of the business. I know you've been asked to do other things and called with these as an extension of Southern Girl Desserts. I just see an entire platform of that hospitality and what you are giving and how you're mentoring without even, thinking that in those moments. And so I'm excited that I was able to share this platform with you, that I'm taking away so many jewels, and I call them diamonds for your destiny. I'm taking them away. I'm writing my mental notes because you have encouraged me to understand that even when the breakdowns happen, we can make and turn that into a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And everyone doesn't know that backstory, right? They don't know the backstory. They just see you smiling and see you on the shows and being interviewed and looking good. And, they know you're tired, but they know you're serving. And so when we see and get to hear that backstory, we go, you mean I'm not by myself in this? Right. You mean I'm not alone? So I want to thank you for your transparency this evening, for your vulnerability this evening. I want to thank you for your encouragement and your courage. And so with that, let us know what's happening. What are you on the brinks of now? What can we look out for?
Ooh, we have a new store opening.
Yeah.
So that store is under construction. It should be done next month, Lord. And we hope to be open in mid-September. So we are hiring. We're hiring for everything. So if you guys know any bakers or decorators or managers or anything out the cashiers, we're looking for everybody. So that's one of the amazing things.
Where is that? What location? Where is it going to be?
That is actually in Watts.
Okay.
It's in Watts. Yeah. Wow, so and it's a beautiful
Freedom
space.
Plaza.
Yeah.
Oh, Freedom Plaza. Okay. I know Freedom Plaza.
Yeah.
So
we'll be opening up there, and then of course we're shipping nationwide through Goldbelly, and we're always adding new desserts. We ship pound cakes, cookies, and pies via Goldbelly, and then we have something else that we're working on. It's just not exactly ready to announce yet, but we would love to come back on here and announce it.
Well, you need to let me know. Listen, I'm the Oprah. I want the exclusive now.
It's big.
Oprah. Come on,
it's huge. It's huge.
Big.
We're so excited.
We are bubbling
I got
over.
my mama mouth, and I'm trying not to be Felicia right now with a big mouth.
Okay,
but it's huge. Something we've been working on for a minute, and we're really excited about it. And it's gonna be a big. So hopefully we'll be able to announce that in the next couple of months.
Okay. Well, listen, you all are gonna get my clapper on that one. Yes, that's my clapper. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Next level living. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm over here going. I'm thinking in my head, So I'm gonna try to ask you, see if you tell me. But I understand not to tell me. I understand, but inquisitive minds wants to know. That's exciting. So listen, ladies, as we go, I want you each to give your parting words to those that are with us listening. I want to thank you for listening, audience, and being with us. If you're watching the replay, make sure to tap in, hashtag replay and put your comments there. We're going to get back to you. I'm always getting back to those that are watching us and have questions. So if you can just go ahead and give us and listen, your dog is saying you have talked enough.
He was like, I've been good
so
for
jealous.
an hour, but you tripping now.
Right.
He is so jealous.
He is. And my dog is over here, and I'm glad he's not barking. Oh my goodness. Let's just stop. Pause for the pause. Now wait a second. What is the name of the young man?
His name is Moko.
Moko, I see you making, and I hear you make. It's enough is enough. I get it. Yes, sir. I'm releasing mommy. Look, he's like, mommy, enough is enough. I get it. Okay. All right. Let her give her parting words. Go ahead.
I think Nike said it best. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just whatever it is. There is never a right moment for anything.
Right.
So if it's on you, and honestly, once it comes to your mind, it's now in the universe. So it's just waiting for whomever is going to take it. So why not let it be you?
Oh, Now don't make me now. Do we need to pass the collection plate? Come on now. Come on. Okay. Let me breathe, because that was for me. That was for me. Now don't just hit me like that, Holy Spirit. Okay. All right. Okay.
So for me, it's a lot of things, but when God speaks to you and He gives you an idea, just allow yourself to be open to it. And if you're working a full-time job and you're like, oh, I'm so over this job, and you and your meeting, writing down your business ideas, just know that it's okay that you don't go from an idea to $1 million business in 1 year or a week or so. I think sometimes we rush things versus just allowing things to happen at the pace that because God has a plan for us. And once I think we realize that God has a plan and He's putting things in order for us, why would I want to get down here too fast before I want to get to the party before the food done? I ain't gonna be sitting around waiting for the food to be done. So if you just be patient and just be obedient, everything will happen according to the plan that God has for your life. So don't rush it. If you want a job and you gotta endure it for an extra year just so that you can get and build toward your dream, then do that. We're so quick to rush, and sometimes we rush into things too fast. So just be patient and allow God's plan to play out according to His plan for your life.
Amen. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Good diamonds for our destiny. Good nuggets. I love it. Ladies, listen, you have just, let me breathe, because this was beyond expectation. And every time I'm preparing and God says, this is what I've called you to do, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with who's seasoned, who we're serving, right? Like, that's just so awesome. Like, He's like, Deshaun, this ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm like, yes, I do. I had to put makeup on. He's like, no, this has nothing to do with you. You just do what I'm calling you to. So thank you. Thank you, both of you. You're just phenomenal, and you're serving in your humility, you're serving in your powerfulness, in your connectedness. And so I just want to say that, listen, I'm always saying to live life magnified, everyone. And if you know that you've been called to do greater, then you have to start with a greater mindset. You have to change everything you've been thinking behind you and say, I'm ready for the newness. So just remember that. I'm always saying that. And I love you. And I'm so grateful that you've joined us this evening for this powerhouse and this powerful conversation, this dialogue. Make sure that you listen again, jot down all of your notes, share with your sister girls and your sister circles, because we are about every single person continually to always reach their highest potential. Until next time, know that you are magnificence and you are always maximizing your magnificence. I am Deshaun Antoinette Booker, your maximizing coach. Smooches and deuces. And till later, we'll see you soon. Live life magnified. See ya, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Awesome. Awesome.